Hi, my name is Jatavia Mariah Stute, and my topic for today for the final project is natural hair, and the title is Natural Hair Speaks. As you'll see in all of the photos around, these are African American or people who are biracial, who have African American in them, and all of their hair is natural. So a little bit about me, who am I? I'm Jatavia, and in these two photos right here, I have natural hair. And then these two, I have what we would call a protective hairstyle, which is weave or sew-ins or a wig, straight hair right here. And then right here is my baby fudge. So the whole reason why I picked natural hair is because I personally have natural hair that is not processed, and it touches home for me because unfortunately still today there are issues with women wearing their natural hair, and I wanted to further expand my knowledge on the history behind it all. So personally, mine I've had natural hair for 7 years and no dye in my hair for 4 years. So just to get started, the history of natural hair. So the history this is a texture chart. So 1A is completely straight hair. 2A to 2C, that's going to be more of a wavy pattern. Curly is your 3A to 3C, and then your really tight, kinky, coily hair is going to be 4A through 4C. I personally am 4A, 4B, and 4C. It's very common for African American women to have all three of those textures, or maybe even a mix of the three and the four. Um, and that has to do with chemicals that I'll later talk about. But as you look at the chart, you'll notice that on the side it explains what the pattern looks like, and then as you go up the chart, you start to see the person actually get darker in complexion. So most of this is going to be Asian, Caucasian, a little bit Hispanic, a little black, and then once you get to the top, it's pretty much all African American. So what is natural hair? So Curl Centric says natural hair is relaxer free hair, meaning that the individual isn't using any creamy crack. Creamy crack is a perm. So as a child, I had to get my hair permed because I couldn't fit my cap over my hair to do cheer. So they told my mother her options were either to find a way to get the cap to stay on my hair, or I couldn't dance. So I had to get a perm on my hair. A perm is complete chemicals. It can burn your hair if it's done wrong. It can do a lot of damage if it's not done properly, and it just takes out all of your curls to make your hair like 1A. So then we get down to the weave, which was the previous pictures I showed you of getting hair added in so that you actually don't have to do anything to your natural hair, which is why you wouldn't have to use a perm. And then we get to the argument of good hair versus bad hair. Throughout the history of African American hair, Ellington wrote an article about virtual support groups that are based on natural hair. And she states that slavery, it all really started with slavery. The based on your hair texture, defined if you would be inside of the house with your master or if you would be outside of the house. And basically, that divide between the two is why we have so many issues with hair, because if you're outside, you're in the heat. But if you're inside, you're probably biracial. So your hair is more of one of these textures, usually a 3. So that's really where we get this big divide between what is good hair and what is bad hair. So I'm going to show you this video. It's a woman who actually works at a beauty supply store, and she has a customer come in with her 2 daughters, and she says something that is often said to a lot of young African American women, and there's men as well, but mainly African American women. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what she encounters.
And then she grabbed one of the little girl by the head, like no lie, not like physically yanked her, but she kind of grabbed her. And she gonna say this to me. Do you see my little girl? She got some nappy shit. I don't know how to manage this. Can you please pick me out a perm that's good for this shit, because I can't do it. She don't have hair like her sister, and then she kissed her other daughter on the forehead. Now let me stop right there.
So basically what has happened in this video is a young woman brings in her two girls, and one's biracial, one is completely African American, and she basically just trash talks the other one in front of her other daughter. This is very, very common for either lighter skin complected or someone with more fair hair to be pitted against someone with more of a texture like my own. And again, this is back when we really there really were no products for African American women to use, so the only thing to use was to just straighten your hair so that you didn't get made fun of or things like that. That's why she was there at the store asking for the perm, because she didn't know how to manage her daughter's hair. Oops. Okay, so why did the natural hair movement even start? And what is it? It is a celebration for women all over, particularly African American women, to come together and celebrate that they have this natural hair that was given to them and display it as a political statement and as a fashion statement. So basically this started around 1966 during the Black Power movement, and we see women just wearing these beautiful afros. And basically there's been a few different waves, but once the products came out, like here, there's more products. We started getting videos like this of how to do your hair, and we started seeing like, here's a twist out and here's what it looks like when I'm done with it. We start to see these support groups form on Facebook and YouTube and everything. It just goes very viral after like 2012. We start to really see this hair movement spark. And the main reason why it started is because African American hair is still to this day not accepted. One of my roommates, she sent me a Twitter post from AJ Plus, and it stated that California passed a bill that no longer bans or discriminates against hair types, which they're talking about is these. So that's braids, dreadlocks, curly, kinky hair. It's crazy. Kids are getting banned from going to school and getting suspended because they have natural hair, and natural hair is apparently distracting or it's not groomed. So this is why this natural movement has started, and it's continuing to pioneer through. Okay, so now this next slide is influencers and social media. So here what we have is basically influencers in this area and then some of the social media. The internet, as we all know, contains an abundance of information for us to access, share, create, post, and communicate with one another via electronic devices. So here is a Instagram or Twitter and basically every social media you can think of. She's on it. She's an influencer. She loves to do tutorials on how to do hair products, and particularly for 4C hair, which is the tightest coil. And then Natural 85, I've been following her since I started my natural hair. She has a mix of all three patterns and is accredited highly for using like natural products, like putting avocado and mangoes, making her own products. And then Beyonce and Jay-Z, both African American and very proud, as you'll listen to their music. They both really speak a lot about African American features, and one of those things is their hair. So Beyonce loves to have her daughter Blue Ivy, the oldest. She always has her in some type of natural hair, and she's a very big supporter of that. So then off to this side, this is actually the website that I'll show you later on that I based my research off of, and it is My Natural Sisters. Naturally Curly is a blog place, and what you'll notice is certain places cater to certain types of hair. Naturally Curly caters to 1A hair all the way to 4C hair, so it covers a wide range. And they do products, tutorials, blogs, comments, things like that. And then Curly Nikki is more of 3A to 4A hair specifically. And then this is another Instagram page that I follow that just shows you different ways to do hair, or just like celebrates, like, oh, look at this beautiful, beautiful 4C hair. It's meant for encouragement. So now down to the research questions that I actually had. Research question 1, is the context being displayed communicating that natural hair is based on race or texture? Research question 2, are there other discussions on the My Natural Sisters page that do not pertain to hair? If so, what are they and how are they responded to? Research question number 3, do comments on the page disfavor other textures of hair? Research question number 4, what content seems to engage more followers and why? These are questions that I came up with just based off of my own curiosity. And so how I really conducted my research was off of observation. I looked at My Natural Sisters webpage from January 1st to April 21st. And what I really focused on is how is their context structured, and then how do their shares, likes, comments, and hashtags have an implication on how their information is being received. And then I did want to do a survey, but unfortunately that was actually had to be added to my limitations. So also I had a brief analysis, which I look at what trends I found, some communication patterns, rules that are associated, and then a little bit of background on the page itself. So this is the actual page of My Natural Sisters. They have a little shop now button here. So they do have another webpage that'll take you to buy some of their shirts. And these 3 ladies, I'm not sure if they own the page or not, but they all have different patterns of natural hair. Let me see, can you see their followers? They have a lot of followers. I think about, 1 million. So here's some of their posts, some of the content that's actually there. This post specifically asks, what do you use on your edges, which is the baby hair around your scalp, and it asks A, B, or C, like, do you use your hand, toothbrush, or whatever. And this is engaging content. This is a self-motivation post that they did on January 1st. That was just saying, it's a new year, embrace yourself, encourage, just really encouraging. And then this post is actually of makeup and how she did her hair. So there's that one, and then they like to also post like babies with natural hair a lot. And then another one that's just like, which way do you do it? Do you leave-in conditioner, oil, cream, or how do you maintain your natural hair? And then here's some of the comments and posts that it receives. Some people in this post specifically are talking about what oils they like to use on their hair, which ones they don't. Some over here, it was about a post about chopping off your hair, and people are in here talking about like, I hate that my hair shrinks up when I know that it's longer, and then, wow, this is so true. I feel like I'm never satisfied. And then someone was like, oh my God, I was just thinking that. And then over here is one of the posts for the baby, and it's saying adorable, beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous. They look so real. I mean, they're actual babies, but some people thought they were dolls. I don't know why. And then this is also one of the responses to the page. She actually put her daughter, a video of her doing her hair. And again, the words are beautiful, princess. What do you do to their hair to maintain it? What products do you use? Another one was she's saying what she uses, and she even gives the link to say, hey, this is something you might want to check out, or I love them all. I love coconut oil. They just really all converse about what they use so that maybe someone else that'll see it may like it. So one of the posts that I came across was done by O'Kane for CBS News. And she did a post over Alexis Ohanian, which is Serena Williams' husband. They have a biracial child. And he wanted to learn how to do natural hair. So the reason why I titled it exclusion or inclusion is because Serena Williams is an African American woman and he is a white male, and he wanted to know how to do his baby's hair. The reason why I got so much feedback is because he's white, and the question becomes, who do we allow in our group? Who do we not allow in our group? Which is why I also have this post over here of a Google search I did. And some of these say basically, if you're white and you have a child who is biracial or black, then you are more likely to be accepted into the group, like a natural hair community. Because he actually had to apply to get into these groups because they were all they were closed off. So he, was like, hey, I'm a white male, but like I really want to know how to do my daughter's hair. But if you do not have that, if you don't have that behind you, then you're more subject to be, you want to do cultural appropriation. Like, it's not accepted if someone who just has no relation to African American background and their hair to want to join a group. It's seen as maybe you want to poach off of their ideas, and that's not what they want. So the other online group that I tied this back to was Curlcentric, and it's very different from what I showed you for my natural sisters and what I showed you of Alexis, his positive feedback. This one gets really brutal. I will say that this post on the natural hair movement was in 2011, and the comments ranged to 2015. So everyone has mixed reviews on this topic, and for one of them it says she basically has to work too hard, so she does not have time to take care of her natural hair, which is why she perms it. And she feels that basically there shouldn't be any, like, you should if you want to perm your hair because you want to, because maybe you don't have time. This takes about 4 hours if I want to straighten my hair. It's very time consuming. The other post, she's like, I disagree with you. Perming, you should not perm your hair anymore. It can damage your hair. Those chemicals can irritate the scalp to no end. My scalp has actually bled from a perm before, so that's basically what she's speaking on. She disagrees with this post. And then the other one, this person says, you're all wrong. Natural hair is a part of Black culture. They basically go into, again, agreeing that perms are bad for your hair. And then this one says that it's not a part of Black culture. If you have African American hair, why is that a part of culture? It should not be tied into culture. So there's a lot of argument here, negative and positive, just back and forth. So my overall analysis, when I finally took in all of this information, I found some common language between some of these posts, and it was beautiful, gorgeous, natural, and very positive. The attitudes were hearts, likes. It was such a positive environment to see the way they communicated back and forth. It was super uplifting. The hashtags were natural hair, team natural, four type hair, sisterhood, Afro, Black girl magic, and big chop. So basically the understanding of this content, when I put all of those things together, is that there are rules between, although they don't say like, oh, you have to be Black to be on our page, it's stated through the comments. The followers are mainly Black. The content is only of African Americans with natural hair. So with that being said, I didn't see anybody of another nationality or race or ethnic group besides African American that I could identify post on that Facebook page at all. So like I said, the now versus then, the post that I showed you from Curlcentric, it's from 2011, so it's a little older, versus now when you fast forward to 2019, we see a different approach to natural hair. It's very positive, it's very encouraging, and starting to get more widely accepted. So basically my survey, many of the followers were not my friends, so they didn't even open it when I Facebook messaged them. So I think they thought I was spam because the crowd was much older. So I think they were probably like, who the heck is this? Like, I ain't opening that. And then depending on the platform, maybe if I would have used Instagram, I probably would have got a better response. Or if I would have used Twitter maybe. But Facebook was older, but it also serves better as a community, and that's why I chose Facebook over the other platforms. So in conclusion, just to recap on my research question one about is the content displayed communicating that natural hair is based on race or texture? It's both. It's not one or the other. So if you're black, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna have 4A, 4C hair. That's just how the genetics work. So it's both. It really ties into both. And the content that they post is African American women. So there's the race, and the hair, it's natural. So I don't think it's one or the other. Research question 2. Are there other discussions on the My Natural Sisters page that do not pertain to hair? If so, what are they and how were they responded to? As I showed you, they don't just post items about hair. They do makeup, they put babies. One lady was actually pregnant and she was talking about her process of being a pregnant mom. They do makeup. It varies. So, but they all tie into each other one way or another. And they were all responded to very positive. The communication between them was really the exchange of ideas of how they use their products or what they do, what's their routine, or makeup products like, oh, what works for someone who's African American. So research question 3, do the comments on the page disfavor other textures of hair? I would say it's not as obvious, but it's definitely stated. If you look at the hashtags, they say Black Girl Magic, they say 4A hair. They are implying a specific type of texture that they want to display. And it ain't 1A, it ain't 2A or 3. It's specifically 4 type hair is what their page caters to. And then the last one is what content seems to engage more followers and why. It's the babies. The babies get the most shares and the babies get the most likes. But as far as engaging content like interactive conversation, that would be posts that ask you how do you do your hair, or what products do you use for your hair, or makeup and things like that. That's what really gets the conversation, and those have like thousands of comments. So here is some of the work cited that I pulled from some articles that I used to actually establish my project. So thank you for watching and have a good night.